This conference will now be recorded.
Lori, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aiello?
Here.
Commissioner Hudson?
Here.
Commissioner Cassidy?
Here.
Vice Mayor Cos?
Here.
And Mayor Hill.
Here. Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Any changes to the agenda?
Yeah, I want to put a commissioner comment or commission discussion on at the end.
All right.
PNZ.
So 22, Commissioner
And-
Cos.
Can we please move item number 11 to the regular agenda? Just for a couple of comments.
Item 11, we'll move.
11?
The police contract.
Yeah, I'd like that.
All right, let's move that to 12A, just to make that the first regular agenda item.
Okay.
How's that?
And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to table number 14 to a future meeting.
Okay,
Actually, make
so
it
we'll make
14.
13, 14 and 11, 13. And I would like to add a commissioner comment on articles in the paper just recently.
And I'd like to add a commissioner comment quickly about turtles.
Turtles,
Just
Okay.
turtles and dogs?
Just turtles.
just turtles.
Yeah.
And
So do you want to go first? Do you want to be 21?
Could I add a commissioner comment on the audit too? On the audit,
On what?
audits?
Okay, so how about you, Dave? You might as well get into the party.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So. 25. Let's see, 20, so, all right, so Steve, you're 22. Carolyn, you want to be 23?
Yep.
Turtles, A&R, 24. And then I'll be 25. Okay. All right, anyone make motion?
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, presentations and proclamations. Kelly?
Okay, Florida City Government Week of October 21st and 20 through 27th. Whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most daily impact upon its residents. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life of residents, making their city their home. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to and understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along the understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Government Week offers an important opportunity for elected officials and city staff to spread the word to all citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence this branch of government. And whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now therefore, I, Jeff Pugh, as mayor, and on behalf of the other commissioners, do encourage all citizens, city government officials, and employees to participate in events that recognize and celebrate Florida City Government Week. The town of Ocean Ridge encourages educational partnership between city government and schools, as well as civic groups and other organizations.
Thank you. All right, announcements.
The meeting schedule for the next month is as follows. The regular town commission meeting will be on Monday, November 4th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Community standards hearing will be on Wednesday, November 6th at 10 a.m. Planning and zoning meeting will be on Tuesday, October 15th at 9 a.m. The Board of Adjustment meeting will be on Wednesday, October 16th at 9 a.m. And all meetings are held in the commission chambers at Town Hall. Town Hall will be closed Monday, October 14th in observance of the Columbus Day holiday. The annual municipal election will be held on March 11th, 2025. There is one town commission seat open, and candidate filing dates run from November 4th, 2024 at noon through November 15th, 2024 at noon in the town clerk's office. The town is hosting a blood drive event with One Blood on Friday, October 11th from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Saturday, October 12th from 10 to 4. The bus will be parked behind the town hall. All those wishing to donate blood can sign up through the link posted on the town's website. And all residents who wish to sign up to receive important town notifications and news through Civic Ready should sign up on the town's website or call town hall for assistance.
Thank you. All right, time for public comment. Come on, Betty.
Someone has to make a comment.
Somebody has to.
There he is here. And I said, I have a question. Is there any way of making people civil without putting fines on people and making them pay money out of their pocket? I thought that these blowers were to blow weeds into a central place where people could pick them up and put them in a barrel to put out for pickup. Instead, they seem to be make a lot of noise, a lot of fumes, blow the leaves into the street or under the hedges into the next door neighbor's yard, so I don't have to pick them up. And that's number one. Number two, the police have had someone sitting in driveways a couple of times this week. And it's interesting, when cars come across the bridge, see the cars, they immediately hit the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. When they're not there, they come across the bridge, and if they're going 45 miles an hour, they don't slow up at all. And they even stop at red lights when there's a policeman there, rather than say, no one's coming, I'll just make the right turn anyhow. So I would like to, maybe our newspaper could get an article out about people thinking about what they're doing.
Thank you, Betty. Hey, he's sitting right there in the front row.
Good evening, Ken Khalil, 86 Island Drive South. Quickly, have we gone around to the construction sites and alerted them to clean up their mess? Okay, because I haven't seen the action taking place to clean up the mess. So I'm more concerned about the crap that's at the Island Drive lot and the seawall that's across from me of the wood flying into our windows than I am anything else. So I would encourage you to remind them, maybe send someone around. Thanks.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Aaron, could you look into that, please?
We had code enforcement going around
Did you?
today.
Any other public comment? All right, we'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move to accept the consent agenda as published, realizing that we've moved item 11 to, I think, be called 12A or something like that.
That's close enough.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, regular agenda items. Approved 2024-27 agreement between Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida and Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association. Lynn, you want to bring us up to speed, please?
Yep, we discussed this in the budget process. The radios for the police department are at a point where they need to be replaced. This would be approving the notice to proceed on the radio purchase that's.
No, we're on
No.
We're on the PB agreement.
We're doing the police Benevolent contract first, and then we're moving on to the Motorola.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
The PBA contract has been settled. It has been approved by the union, ratified by the union, and is brought to the commission for your approval. It has a 3% cost of living increase for the officers, and maximum of 4.5% available for merit. It did increase their vacation time, but there were a lot of other things that they had asked for that they did not get. And I believe Commissioner Cassidy has a question on the car stipend that they get at the end of the year. I did reach out to the labor attorney, Laura Donlin, but she was already out of the office. I sent her an email and I haven't heard back in response to Carolyn's question.
All right, I know you have several questions, so you want to start?
Sure. So we had in our meeting, we gave parameters and maximum levels for certain things. And with the car stipend, we we said to keep it at what it was, which is $5,000. And it was increased to 5,400.
But anything you can add to that, or is there?
I did not catch it, and I'm not sure that Laura did either. That's the issue that I even called and emailed her about this afternoon, but as I said, I have not heard back from her on it.
So what are we talking, 400 times what?
400 times 15, because there are 15 sworn officers, that's
So
2
$6
lieutenants
grand?
and a chief don't,
Not
aren't
nothing.
eligible for it.
It's not nothing?
No, it's
Yeah.
something. I just am uncomfortable going back into the contract if the other side was told that we accepted.
And they were, like I said, I'm not sure how it slipped past, but it did,
Counselor? Any advice on this?
equals a total of $6,000.
From what I understand is in order to go back, you would have to go back into negotiations and reopen it up to negotiate that issue. If you accept it at 5,400, then obviously you don't, but that's, you can reject, you always have the ability to reject the contract. Then they would have to go back to negotiations.
Well, it might be offset by this merit raise, right? Because we authorized a 5% and they accepted 4.5.
Yeah, but I don't think it is, because if you look at the total, we had kind of set aside, we thought somewhere in the range of 350. We were trying to guess where this would land. I think we had 350, I guess we're saying we had in the contingency. So if you look at the wage ranges there, it looks like we're spending 250. I'm trying to figure out what the merit and COLA are costing, because they didn't give us that, but I think we're getting pretty close to spending the 350.
Do you know what 0.5 on merit equals?
I think it's $1,617,000.
No.
I'm looking in the budget as to what the salary is. So if you take 0.005 times that.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's only $8,000.
$8,000?
Yeah. So that doesn't really save you much, but
Well, it offsets the $6,000.
yeah,
That's all. I just.
I'm not worried about $6,000. I'm more worried about whether we,
But it's
within the budget that we put.
it was the first time I and, well, Ainer have been through this process, and we set the maximums and they exceeded it. So I don't know how that got dropped, but.
So the only maximum they exceeded was the car allowance, is that
Yes.
correct?
See, what collective bargaining agreements are fluid, and you give and you take, and you're trying to get a deal done, so I kind of understand that. And I'm comfortable with it as long as we landed within the envelope that we approved. What I don't know is I don't know if we landed within the envelope, because it's not all costed out for us here. But if we landed within the 350 envelope that we amongst ourselves kind of figured it was going to land at, then I'm kind of okay if the people at the table said, well, we got to give a little on the shoes or whatever so we can get something here. Because it's hard to do shuttle diplomacy when you're doing collective bargaining.
Lee, can you help us out with that? Are we landing
Do you
within
have a
that
sense for
envelope?
where we're-
or not?
Sure. My sense is that we are well under the maximum amount that you authorized.
So do those wage range numbers there, the ones that are the actual up to 120 and up to 130, does that include the merit and the COLA, or is the merit and the COLA?
That is their salary range. So when you start, when you hired in, the lowest is 70. The highest as a patrol officer that you can get the maximum merit is 120,000. So it's dependent upon where each individual person is at. So it's not like we're spending 120,000 in
Gotcha.
wages on every officer in the
Okay, I
department.
gotcha. If that's the case, then I think we're under the 350. I think we'll come in under the 350.
And
Based
the
on all these
400
numbers.
only
I
makes.
can't tell you just looking at this how much, but it might be 75 or 100 under the 350. So if that's the case, I can kind of live with some little ones around the edges, going up or down. I'd be fine with that.
Carolyn? All right.
So you're okay with the car allowance
At 54.
at 54?
I'm not stressed about the car allowance personally, but as long as we're keeping within the envelope overall.
Mine was just more about the process, and
Okay.
we did it for a reason.
I
We said
understand.
So,
We also have to trust the attorney that the town hired for that too as well. But I have to admit, it was the first time ever where it was only one shade meeting.
Mhm.
That was pretty, I was surprised. But if it came under what we told her to do, except for the car allowance, maybe it was a negotiation way, of having to do that. I don't know.
But
What's the pleasure, commission?
make a motion to accept the new CBA contract.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, now we'll move on to the Motorola notice to proceed, purchase radios.
All right. So part of the budget process, we're updating the radios for the police department. One of the decisions was whether we wanted to finance or pay cash. When the commission approved the budget during the workshops, they had placed in it to purchase the radios for cash of $184,870.88, subject to the contract, the NASPO contract, which is a nationally negotiated contract and a bid contract. The police department is in favor of this. Chief Flores is still on his way back from a trip right now, so that's why we have Aaron. But our radios are at end of life and we do need to replace them.
Oh, yeah, we pretty much went over this
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
so I think it's pretty much all in agreement here. Any, entertain a motion?
I move that we approve Motorola notice to proceed.
Second.
Motion and second, any public comment? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, adopt updated employee handbook. Lynn?
And I will tell you right now, this one we may want to table. I realized when I met with Commissioner Cassidy that there is a summary notice of notes that goes with this that shows all the changes that were made. It's about 13 pages long, and it did not get included with the agenda packet. So I would like to table this to the November meeting.
Okay, everybody in agreement with that?
That way you guys have a chance to see all the
Yes.
changes that
All
were
right.
updated.
All right, so table the employee handbook. All right, going on to number 16, approval of resolution number 2024-14, a resolution of the Town of Ocean, the Town Commission of the Town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, appointing the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board as a Town of Ocean Ridge Canvassing Board for the 2025 municipal election and providing repeal of conflicting resolution, severability, and an effective date. This is pretty much something we do every single year, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. You want to explain it to us, Kelly?
Sure. This will save you guys from having to go and canvassing board to go down and count several meetings of the canvassing board, all the meetings that they have to attend. This will allow the county's canvassing board to take care of that for you.
All right. Is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2024-14 as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, let's move on to approve the fiscal year 2024 and 2025 audit engagement. Lynn?
Great, we've reached the end of fiscal year 2024 and need to prepare to do our annual audit. We have have been working with Nolan, Holt, and Minor for several years. And they have submitted an engagement letter and their scope of services for the FY24, and they're also requesting to do the 25 audit. The FY24 audit would cost $25,000. The FY25 would be $25,500, which is a very small increase and reasonable. We've worked well with Nolan, Holt, and Minor in the past. We've got a good relationship with Ron. I know most of you have spoken with him, and he does a good job. So I would recommend moving forward with the audit and the scope.
Okay. Is there any questions for Lynn on that?
Yeah. Do you happen to know what 22 and 23 were?
They were, I believe, 24 and 24.5.
Okay, so it goes up 500 a year.
Yeah, what, $500? Not bad.
No,
No, I mean, it's
pretty remarkable.
really.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve fiscal year 2024, 2025 audit engagement.
Second.
Motion and second. Public comment? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, just on this one, we'll have to convert it into a standard professional services agreement for the town because there's the statutory language that we have to put in the contract nowadays. So it'll be in the same format, but just authorization for the town manager to sign off.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need a motion for that, or is
Just consensus is fine.
there a consensus?
Yes.
It's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Extension of the North Ocean Boulevard Water Main project to include the installation of new water main on River Drive from North Ocean Boulevard to Inlet K. Lynn, you want to bring us up to speed on that?
Yeah, as we all know, we're doing the water main project on North Ocean. Kelly, did you get the email from Lisa right at like 5 o'clock? It's got a map attached to it. I will pass this down to you, to each of you, so you can look at it. This is our water distribution system, and it's color coded for the capital projects, which we put in the budget for them to, this is just preliminary. But the most high priority, and this is after discussions with Billy Armstrong, are the 3 islands and Inlet K and River Drive as they connect to North Ocean. When we did the connection on the north side of River Drive at North Ocean as part of this water main project, we discovered that the piping that goes down River Drive is extremely corroded on the inside, and it is the same material pipe as what we're pulling out on, or we're replacing on North Ocean. And as you know, we've had a couple of different emergency breaks in the last couple of months due to the condition of these pipes. It was suggested that we do this as an extension. Christine recommended that at the cost of this for the full River Drive, which is the $695,000 and change, that doesn't quite qualify as just a change. That would be potentially would need to be rebid due to the size of it unless it was declared an emergency. We had the fire marshal from Boynton out this week, and they did a flow test on it. The hydrants on River Drive are flowing currently at 1,425 gallons per minute, which, as long as there is no construction on River Drive, meets the standards. But if anybody wants to do remodeling, or if the one vacant lot on River decides to build, then it will be substandard because their minimum now for any new construction is 1,500 gallons per minute. There is a slightly different cost that ends up being just under $200,000 if we only replace the pipe along Inlet K from North Ocean to River Drive. Christy said that could be potentially just a change order because it is a smaller portion of the project. I will leave it to the commissioners. One of the reasons that we wanted to try and do all of River Drive is right now we've got the contractors that are there. They have submitted a bid at the bid pricing for our current water main project, and we will save between $50,000 and $75,000 on a second project, not having to pay for mobilization for a contractor and not having to pay for all of the bid process.
So could I jump in? Because
Yep.
Lynn and I have talked about this. First of all, I'm a big supporter of the fact that we're trying to get proactive and not just wait for things to blow up before we start fixing them. We put aside $1.25 million to get proactive, but we also put aside $70,000 to do a strategic priority analysis, to have ingenuity or whatever the name of our firm is, to say, okay, if I had a couple $1 million to spend, boy, here's where I'd go first, because that's the absolute most important stuff to do. So when I got this, I called Lynn and said, so is this, we haven't done the study yet. How do we know where this is going to shake out? You said you were going to
touch base with Ingenuity to make sure that they would say, oh, trust me, that'll be up there right at the top. Because I don't want to find out, this is more than half of our budget. I don't want to find out that we spent more than half of our budget. And there were other things we should have spent it on that were even more important.
Right.
I don't know anything about pipes, so I don't know if this is important or not important, but I'm trusting our engineers.
I did speak to Lisa today, and she did confirm that this pipe has it's the same material, appears to be about the same age as the one that they're currently replacing, and it is in need of replacement. So she said that this,
As a priority.
yes, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I think probably almost all of our pipes are in need of replacing.
Right.
So that's, what I want to make sure is that there aren't like some junctions or something that would be better, that we would be better spending our money on rather than these. She's confident that this is a high priority.
Yes, and I think,
And when we met with Billy, as you can see from the map that I passed around and the one that Kelly has up, the year one, which is what we are in now, is the green, which runs from the north end of town down here to Inlet K. The second year priority, I'm not seeing it listed over. The second priority is the red, and that is the 3 islands. So you've got River and Island Drive, and Inlet K, Sable Island, all of those. Those are all the same pipe type that we are replacing in this year's.
Okay.
Which is why we proposed doing this while we've already got them in that area.
and I did ask the question because I think we kind of did the math on this, and it's about 3,600 linear feet a year. All of Inlet K is 3,300 linear feet, not including River Drive.
Okay.
Inlet K.
So we'll have about $500,000 left after this, or 550 in what we set aside, unless we can scrape up some extra money. So the next piece will go according to priority based on the study that they do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big question here is, like, we can talk about all day long, but can we even do it, Counselor?
Well,
Without doing the bids?
The question is this truly an emergency? Because under Florida statute for public works projects like utilities, anything that's really over, you have to do a percentage nowadays, but anything really over $300,000, you have to go out for bid for. So the scope for the project that we're currently doing did not include River. So if we want to include that, the only way you can get around those bidding things is to declare an emergency.
Who has that power? We do?
You have that power. Ideally, you have some support that this is an emergency and you don't have other pipes within town that are in the same condition or worse.
So could we attack this in a different method? You said if it's 200,000 for, what was it, Inlet?
Inlet K from
That's
north.
okay. So why don't we break this into 3 projects?
Because
Because
River's
we're gonna-
one road.
So say we're doing half of it for 200, the other half for 200, and the other half for 200. We're saving ourselves $70,000.
Well, what is this, is there a time certain on this?
Well, in order to capitalize on the savings, we need to do it quickly so that it's before Foster Marine wraps up the other.
Well, other.
And okay, so, right, so what does quickly mean? Does that mean
Uh,
next month? Does that mean 2 months? What does it mean?
Actually,
The reason I'm asking this is this. Number one, if we're going to get this deep into this, and number one, it's not a 1-inch line, it's a 6-inch line.
You're right.
That's occluded to down to 2 inches in diameter. I want to see a town engineer in front of us. Okay, I want to see Lisa Tropepi from Engineering Group here explaining to us why this is an emergency to the town of Ocean Ridge. I love Billy to death, but he's not an engineer. That's why we paid Lisa Tropepi all this money as our town engineer. She should be here explaining to us why we have to do this and why this is an emergency, period. So if it's something we can wait till next meeting to discuss in detail of why the town needs to do this, and if we can split it up in a way that the town attorney can smile and bless it, then I think that's what we need to do to get this right. I mean, just to kind of expect us to make a decision off of our hip is a little much. So, and I want to know why, or how much is it included? Is it included this much? Is it included this much? All the pipe, like you said, does all the pipe need to be done all the way down the road? Do you know? I don't know. Billy doesn't know either. He knows some, but the town engineer should know the whole shooting match.
But remember, the town engineer has told Lynn it's a priority.
I understand
So it
that,
fits our
but the town engineer, there's certain things that our town engineer should be present for. And this is important. This is, like Ainer said, it's half the budget.
This is what this is what the $70,000 study was gonna do, is go through and figure out where all the worst pipes are. The most important worst pipes, so that we could prioritize those.
Right,
It
but
sounds
if,
like maybe
but if
this is
something
one of
comes
those.
up like this,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah.
But I just need a better explanation,
Okay.
a more detailed explanation than this is what somebody thinks.
And we're basing this.
Especially
on
if we're
the
spending the
flow rate,
town's money,
right?
spending our money. What?
You're basing this all on the flow rate to the hydrants, 1,400, whatever,
Yeah.
Which is within,
per minute, and that's at the bare minimum.
I-
So we're
I
close.
appreciate the fact that we're doing this because we're saving the money. That's great work. However, there needs to be a little more detail in explaining to us so we can understand it succinctly why we have to do it right now. And then to be able to do it, again, to whoever the town.
There was an
That's a
important question.
Hold on
you
one
asked.
second, 1 second.
Jeff, you asked an important question, which we should get a more definitive answer. Will we be able to address this in November without them finishing the project and moving?
I believe so, yes.
Well, that's,
There you go.
what if it's not?
Public comment.
Mike DeBose, 9 Ocean Avenue. The significance of.
You got to speak up in the microphone.
The significance of doing it right now is the drill rig is set up. So when you do a drill shot out, which I was mentioning to you earlier today, and you're pulling pipe, all of your expense is shooting the drill bit out and connecting. All of your risk is right there. So when you look at your first pipe, it'll be $20. Pulling an additional pipe will be $2. An additional pipe might be $1.50.
I understand all
So the
that,
significance
and
of
I
the time,
appreciate
though, is
it.
If someone has a drill set up right now.
But you're not the town engineer. I appreciate what you're saying, but the thing is, the town
What I'm
engineer
trying
should
to
be
say
explaining
to
that to
us
us.
is it's of urgency, because if the person's here and if you want to wait to another meeting, the drill rig will be gone and the savings won't be there.
That's
So,
what I
so
would
that, so
agree.
the town engineer needs to act now if they have a drill on site, because sometimes it takes 4 or 5 days to get the drill bit out.
Well, could we do a
Special
call?
meeting?
And if you
Between
wait
town
and the
engineer,
drill's
special-
gone, the vacuum
special meeting?
cleaner's gone, they have $1 million of equipment gone, then you're gonna be paying full market rate. So the town engineer needs to.
Is there a
act
reason we
quickly.
can't reach the town engineer right now?
how
I
about-
believe she's actually in another meeting right now.
How about this? It's the emergency, there's no
I-
broken pipe at this point.
Nope.
Okay, so if we have to have an emergency meeting at some point, we have an emergency meeting at some point.
Okay.
But let's not just go into this shooting off the hip. I mean, let's just make sure what we're doing here and why we're doing it. Because to your point, Aaron, it's a half the budget we already put out.
More than- yeah.
more.
And then again, the town attorney over there kind of frowning on doing it because, and if we go out for bid, we lose that savings.
I'm sure Christie can figure out.
I think she can figure it out. All right, so you want to get this together and then get back to us?
I will get together with the town
Another public
engineer.
Come on up.
Is this not the same pipe that, Betty Baker, when you said, is this not the same pipe that we had a problem with maybe 15 years ago?
I don't think on River,
On Inlet K, yes.
And
yeah, because it's a 6-inch line going all the way down one side of the road and then
Yeah.
it feeds 1-inch line to each house.
Yeah, but it's the same. What,
Mhm.
and they ran into Coral Rock and they were surprised.
Next one's in front of your house, Betty.
Hi, I appreciate you doing your due diligence with this. I understand this because I come from a husband who's in contracting. So I think an emergency meeting would probably be the best because the man is right. Once the stuff is gone, then you're gonna pay full market value, then you might as well go out to bid. And I hope that you would have that posted so we could all hear about it. So I thank you.
Well,
So what's the timetable? We need a timetable.
a couple
Lynn
weeks.
needs to get back to each of the commissioners tomorrow.
I'll have to get a hold of Lisa tomorrow, and from then, figure out,
Well, the important question was brought up by Mike. In other words, they could still be doing the project in 2 months, but the drill bit thrower is gone.
right.
So we want to make sure that we act while the drill bit thrower is there.
And I'll have to get that clarified from the engineer tomorrow.
And be able to do it under the Florida state statutes.
Well,
Yeah.
Christie
Very
never answered
important.
that question. We can break it into 3 additional projects.
No,
Can
you
we find some way?
you can't break up the procurement to avoid the statutory requirements, but for example, if you doing a portion of the project that's less than 200,000, like the Inlet Cave portion, you could add that on as a change order. But what you can't keep adding things on as change orders to get around the statutory requirement. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we need the word emergency, that's what you said.
Yeah, but I mean, if you've got fire hydrants and flow that's going
Right.
below that, I'm sure that as responsible commissioners, we could call.
And they're going to require the increased flow when, Lynn?
When a new house gets built or
When-
some
when
kind of
any-
remodeling that goes over 50%.
Because I probably am different from all the commissioners. If we have a chance to save 70,000, I think we should be addressing this incredibly aggressively. We know it's a priority pipe. We saved $70,000. So I think we need to get the answers to this and have a meeting like this week, unless the drill bit is going to be there for months.
And I'll get all that information tomorrow.
All right.
To the commissioners.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to staff and committee reports.
One thing first, we need to add a resolution to the agenda. It's, it'd be resolution 2024-15, a resolution of the commission of the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida, declaring a state of emergency within the town of Ocean Ridge and providing for an effective date. This is a preemptive declaration. I have it going into effect at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, the 9th. Hurricane Milton is set at right now to make landfall on Wednesday, sometime during the day. It would be effective for 7 days unless extended or dissolved earlier. But this allows us to put all of our hurricane emergency actions in place.
All right, so is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Lynn?
Okay, we've wrapped up FY '24 and we are hitting the ground running with FY '25. We're still on target to get the community development software implemented in late December, early January. We approved the agreement with the lobbyist, and Commissioner Cassidy and I have a meeting with them tomorrow afternoon via Teams or Zoom. We've made the transition of the financial management software. The new website should be launched by the end of this month. We've still got some updates that we're making to it before we have it go live. But we had a good year. We brought in $1.25 million in grant funds this year, which is a great accomplishment for the town, and we are going to continue moving forward.
It is. Very nice. Thank you, both.
Yep.
Christie?
Do not have a report tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the town attorney? All right, Aaron, you're up.
I also don't have a report, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
The Briny Breeze incident. Did that happen in the past month?
Yeah, I can talk about that.
I thought it was cool.
What's
I
that?
believe it was not this weekend, the weekend before, we had a GPS theft from a vessel in Briny Breezes. Officers were able to coordinate leads within less than 24 hours that led to the recovery of the GPS unit in about 3 days. And there's currently at least 2 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor charge for 2 individuals from Miami that were involved.
And it's due to our police force has created outreach to the various agencies, so you're kind of integrated with them.
Correct. We, over the years, have worked with several agencies, including county agencies like Palm Beach and Broward. And they were involved in some covert surveillance on these individuals that we were sort of involved in. And the officers that went to the scene were very diligent in, realizing that there was a investigation going on and linking it to that immediately after they took the report. And they used our license plate readers and some other tools that we have here to develop really good probable cause. So it was good job by the officer.
What was the date of that?
I want to say it was not this weekend, the weekend before. I want to say Friday night is when we took the report. So I don't remember the exact date. The date of the theft, I think, was the 26th of September.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move to our commissioner comments. Commissioner Cobb?
Yeah, so a couple residents have called me during the past week. And I believe, if memory serves me right, that this commission had a general discussion about the powers of P&Z. And I was under the impression that at the end of that discussion, that the staff would implement those changes with the P&Z. And now I find out that it's not, nothing's been implemented. So number one is the 50% rule. So I guess what I'm asking now is, can we have a discussion and then give instructions to P&Z at this meeting so that this doesn't get lost again? There's a 50% rule that a lot of you are familiar with. I'm sure Christine is very familiar with. That says that the FEMA, if you're going to do more than 50% work on your house, you have to raise to a new elevation demanded by FEMA. It goes into place in December, I believe. However, the municipalities are the ones that define the 50%. So let's take a person that has to put on a roof. Let's say they spend $100,000 in 2023 putting on a roof. And then they have a water leak or something, they need an addition in 2024. So if you take what they're trying to do in 2024 would not hit the 50% money rule of what the house is worth. But if you throw on the 2023 roof, they do exceed it, and now they have to revamp their plans or elevate the entire house. So think what we've created here. Let's pretend you had a water leak. Your house is worth $400,000. It's just the property, it's the house,
the
not
structure.
the entire, the structure. So let's say the tax roll says your house is worth $400,000. You do $180,000 worth of work in 2023 on your house. And then in 2024, you need a roof. You can't do that without the elevation of your house. So the way we're defining the 50% needs to be looked at by P&Z and redefined. Why switching to impact windows would count towards the 50% makes no sense whatsoever. Why switching, I know we had a front door issue, switching your front door to an impact door would be part of it. Part of the 50% is ludicrous because it's the same size door. And if you need a new roof, that certainly shouldn't be part of it. So I guess what I'm looking for is for the commission to agree with me and say, let's give instructions to P&Z to look at this 50% rule and come to some definitions that make sense.
I think what, a little more specifically, what we talked about at the time was, and I know the building official weighed in on this as well, it was an agreement, if a roof, impact windows, if you have a leak and you're doing mold remediation and you're having to replace sheetrock, that those things should not be included in that 50%.
That never got implemented.
No.
Yeah.
Kelly?
It's not that it hasn't been implemented or we haven't done it. When we were given the assignments for the planning and zoning, there was no rank of where you guys wanted them in. So we've just been.
There was no what, I can't hear you.
Like no set of importance of which ones you want first.
Gotcha.
So they've just been taking it as a list. So they're not doing the entire.
Well, can we
list
move
at
this to
once.
the top of the list?
We can move it to the top, but it wasn't a priority, it was just.
Okay, so now it's a priority. How's that? Everybody agree?
So how about,
Wait.
how about Christie's input?
So two things. One, on our next P&Z meeting, one of the things we're looking at is the local amendments to the Florida Building Code. Some of those amendments are being pushed by our outside consultant due to changes for FEMA and our flood insurance requirements. One of the things that's currently in your local amendments is the definition of substantial improvement. And what it excludes is any project for improvement of a building required to correct existing health, sanitary, or safety code violations identified by the building official. We can expand upon that if they're to make, safety improvements to your house, that's also excluded. There's also a proposed tweak that was made by Palm Beach County to its technical amendments to the Florida Building Code that also, make it clear that the persons whose home it is can get an appraisal. So we're not just basing it on what's set forth in the property appraiser's assessment. So it gives a little bit more leeway to this, but we can look at and bring that up with P&Z next week to perhaps tweak that definition to allow for improvements, especially for hurricane improvements.
Yeah.
Roof tie downs, doors and windows and things like that.
All right, so there's a consensus to bring it up sooner
Yeah, sure.
on the list. All right.
Okay, the second half of my P and Z. Again, Carolyn remembers these meetings much better than I do. We had another meeting where I thought that we decided that the building department, or in our case, the building official, could make a determination if a house met town codes and the homeowner could move forward with building his house without going to architectural review committee. The building official had the ability, if he was curious about something or nervous about something, to then ask for architectural review committee to take a look at the plans. I remember this discussion specifically having it up here. And once again, I think that was never implemented or started.
Was that on the list as well?
I honestly don't remember right offhand, but if not, we can add it to it. It's just, like I said, we're
So-
only addressing so many each meeting.
Right, but think how much time we'll save with not having P and Z have to do the architectural review committee meetings on a house that's very straightforward. And the building official is totally capable.
Would you send us all a copy of that list, please? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I think on that issue, the P&Z's development review is in their role as the architectural review board. If you got rid of that and gave that power to your building official, there would be no development review.
No, we keep the task force, so to speak, in place. So the building official could send things to P and Z for architecture review if he was uncomfortable with it. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I don't think that ever got onto our list of projects that we were taking to P&Z to have them ranking, because that would essentially remove, for the most part, their authority as essentially our architectural review board.
Unless needed or requested. Yes, that's precisely right.
So you want to add it to the list?
Yes, please.
Is there a consensus to add to the list? Yes, no?
I guess I'm just a little confused about what exactly, because I'm not remembering this. You want the building official to have some level of authority to approve plans?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Well, basically, I guess, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm gleaning, you're saying the building official trumps the planning and zoning, and only if the applicant chooses to, he can go to the architectural
The
review.
building
No,
official
the
can
building
say, I'm uncomfortable with this design of this house and I want it to go to architecture review.
So then architectural review is actually literally dismantled.
Yeah.
Completely,
Not
unless.
completely, unless requested.
I think that's giving way too much power to the building official, who's not an elected official or
It sounds like it's
appointed.
worth more discussion than this.
Yeah.
The Architectural Review Committee, because I was on planning and zoning at the time, came to planning and zoning at the behest, I believe, of the then town commission. And that's how we got that particular thing going with P and Z. And they would be looking at homes, and frankly, it went overboard. I was a little nervous with it.
Right.
But I think it behooves us to maybe consider it in some form.
Consider it at commission level or at a P and Z level?
P and Z level. They work pretty hard on some of these items, Steve, believe it or not.
Yeah. No, I'm
All right,
not,
so-
I'm not knocking P and Z.
So add it to the list. Like you said.
So we're saying that let P and Z discuss whether they think it would
If the
be
idea.
a good change or whether
Yes,
they
ma'am. Yeah.
go crazy over it.
Right.
And then we can be the adjudicator.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Cassidy?
Okay, just quickly, at the League of Cities conference in August, there were representatives from the Sea Turtle Conservancy, statewide agency, and I spent some time with them. They go around the state, all 80-something coastal municipalities, and look at your ordinance language and your implementation of the ordinance language. And we have a strong ordinance. I think ours is kind of mimics the county language, if I'm not mistaken. but our implementation score was less than ideal. I said, why? So Lynn and I separately had a Zoom meeting with them from the Sea Turtle Conservancy. And I think Lynn and I would just like to look at the implementation. And I don't know if they didn't get all correct information, Lynn seems to think, but we're going to look into that as we're coming to the close of turtle season so that we're all teed up for next year.
Great.
By the way, were there less turtle nests this year?
I don't know.
It just looked to me like it was less.
I haven't seen Sea Turtle Adventures say anything along those lines.
Why, you walk a beach enough, you saw
I
less?
thought it was less,
Oh,
dramatically less. But maybe it's just my little section.
could be.
Could be.
You know, you have those signs on the beach in your section.
You know what the new signs
Yes,
say?
exactly.
You saw them?
No,
Keep off the grass.
What? Keep off the
We
grass?
have, I don't know if you guys get to the beach a lot or particularly down towards Beachway. The dune is coming back, but it's coming back like 100 feet wide.
We have it
The
too.
seagrass is growing, the oaks and everything are growing. It's trapping the sand, so that now there's mounds starting
Wow.
on the beach. You'd be amazed. Take a look at it. So I went to Home Depot and bought Keep Off the Grass because people were setting up shop in the grass.
Did you get a permit for that sign?
No. I strike that.
Commissioner Allen.
This is an easy one. If you go on our website right now and look under the finance section, the last audit that we posted was 2021, and we've since had 2022 and 2023 audits. We've talked about this before, but it somehow never got implemented, so I'd just like us to post those $25,000 audits that we've had done up online so that our residents can see it. You know, there's what, 70 pages of detailed financial information that some people might want to look at. Maybe I'm the only one that's ever tried to look at it, but I might be. But it doesn't take that much time for someone to post them, so I'd like them to get posted up there.
All right, thank you. All right, the last thing I have is just, I was a little surprised and taken aback by an article in the Coastal Star. And I was a little surprised it really came out of Ocean Ridge, because I think Ocean Ridge is bigger than that. And accusing commissioners of trying to ingratiate themselves beginning on the commission. I find that almost laughable that you, a town of 1,800 people, you would get on a commission to increase your wealth somehow. You know, and I have to say that the people that are on this commission, they do it because the love of Ocean Ridge. They really do. And you work hard, and it's a lot of work, and it's, you know, it pays $86 a month. But the point is that I want my commissioner or commissioners, if I'm a public, I want to use the people in my town as, and my neighbors as my doctor, as my lawyer, as my dentist. I mean, my dentist, I had a dentist for 30 years and he finally retired. My accountant lived in Ocean Ridge. My next door neighbor is a doctor. He did all the x-rays and everything as Ocean Ridge resident. So who would you rather have as an Ocean Ridge resident? Wouldn't you want to have an Ocean Ridge resident and your neighbor, and then become your friend doing things for you? And as a small town, it's the same. This small town would be the same small town if we were in the middle of nowhere. Wouldn't you have to use those people? Wouldn't you want to use those people? But then to say that just because you get on a commission, you're trying to ingratiate yourself, I think that was wrong. And I don't think it rises to the level of this town. It's my personal opinion. All right. Anything else? Hearing nothing else, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.